Hey guys, tonight we begin with something raw, relentless, and utterly unforgiving. Life in ancient Rome, not as a senator draped in fine togas, not as an emperor crowned with laurel, no marble villas or golden feasts. Tonight, you're not Augustus or Cicero. You're a slave, one of millions. Your name unrecorded, your life bound by the will of others. Settle into the quiet, maybe turn on a fan for that gentle hum, and let the world slip away. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from and what hour holds you. Drop it in the comments. It's always a wonder to see who's with us, scattered across time zones. You wake in Rome, not to trumpets or glory, but to the clank of chains, the sting of dust, and the distant roar of a city that thrives on your labor. We'll tread through the shadows of its slave system, the roles you might bear: servant, laborer, gladiator, the cruelty that scars body and soul, the rare, fragile hope of freedom, and the rebellions that shook empires. Imagine the heat of the forum, the weight of a yoke, the fleeting dream of a life beyond servitude. Could you bear it, even for a day? This is a story of survival, woven into Rome's stones, told in whispers that echo through time. Dim the lights, breathe deep, and let's step into a world both brutal and human, where every task tests your strength and every night carries the faint promise of peace. The dawn creeps through a narrow slit in the wall, a faint glow that barely warms the air. You stir on a straw mat, its damp fibers prickling your skin, the faint smell of mildew clinging to your tunic. Rome's morning hum drifts in, cartwheels, clattering on cobblestone, a vendor's distant shout, the Tiber's muddy tang. You're a slave in this sprawling empire, your wrists unburdened by chains today, but their weight lingers, a silent reminder of your place. No one knows your name, not really, and your story dissolves into the city's churn. Who are you in this vast, unyielding Rome? Where did you come from, and what role has fate or a master's coin carved for you? The empire thrives on your labor, its hunger endless, and slaves like you are its unseen pulse. Let's walk the paths you might tread, the lives you might endure, in a world that calls you property, not person. Could you bear it, even for a day? Your story begins far from here, or perhaps too close. Slaves in Rome hail from every edge of its conquests, their lives as varied as the tongues in the forum. You might be a Gaul, torn from a village where smoke still curls from burned huts, your hair faintly scented with the pine of a lost forest. Or a Greek, once a poet or potter, now a number in a ledger, captured when your city fell to Roman steel. Perhaps you're a Syrian, stolen by pirates under a starless sky. Your wrists roar from ropes as you were dragged to a slave market. Some were born here, in Rome's shadow. Your mother a slave, her labor pangs muffled in a domus cellar, your fate sealed at birth. Others are children of debt, sold by families crushed by taxes, or criminals condemned for petty crimes. The empire cares not for your past, only what you can do. You're a tool, a whisper in the dark says, and tools don't choose. If fortune or misfortune places you in a domos, you serve in a wealthy Roman's home, a world of marble and shadow. You rise before dawn, the air cool with the scent of olive oil and bread you'll never taste. The villa's frescoes gleam under torchlight, but your world is the kitchen's smoke, the cellar's chill. You might be a cook, stirring pulse, spelt porridge thick with lentils, over a fire, your hands blistered, eyes stinging from ash. A burnt dish could mean a lash, so you move with care. Or you're a cleaner, scrubbing mosaic floors, the rag's mildew scent your constant companion. the mistress's gaze sharp as a blade. Perhaps you're a tutor, teaching a senator's son Latin, your own learning a relic of a life before chains, your voice steady despite the ache in your chest. The work never ends, each task blurring into the next. You fetch water from the courtyard fountain, its splash taunting your thirst. You mend tunics, fingers pricked by coarse thread. You tend children, their laughter a cruel echo of a childhood you've forgotten. The domus is beauty for the free, drudgery for you. You sleep in a cramped corner, the stone cold against your mat. Other slaves snores your only lullaby. The master might call you Livia or Marcus, a name he chose, not yours. Some masters toss you a crust or a worn cloak, but kindness here is a leash, not a gift. You're watched, judged, your every move a tightrope. Could you find peace in this, knowing one slip could cost you dearly? The latifundia, Rome's vast estates, are a harsher fate, a prison of earth and sun. You're sent to the countryside, where the air smells of dust and crushed grain. You wake in an augustolum, a half-buried barracks, its walls slick with mold, the stench of unwashed bodies thick. Chains often bind your ankles, escape a dream that ends in crosses. You're a field hand, bending under the sun, planting wheat, or picking olives, the overseer's whip cracking if you slow. The soil clings to your sweat, flies buzzing around untended wounds. Or you're a shepherd, guiding goats over rocky hills, your sandals shredded, the bleat of the herd your only companion. Hunger gnaws, your ration of pulse or stale bread barely enough to stand. The ergastulum is your night, its iron bars cold against your cheek. The overseer's curses wake you, his voice your evening song. Whispers of rebellion flicker among the others, but fear snuffs them out. Crosses line the roads, a grim warning. The fields stretch endlessly, their beauty mocking your pain. You see free farmers in the distance, their lives a world apart, and wonder what you did to deserve this. The other slaves, faces etched with exhaustion, share your silence, your bread, your resolve to survive. Could you endure this grind, where every seed you plant feels like a piece of your soul? In Rome's heart, the streets are your chains, alive. With chaos, you're an urban slave, keeping the city's pulse beating. The air hums with shouts, vendors selling figs, centurions barking, children laughing as they weave through crowds. You might be an artisan, shaping clay into pots in a cramped shop, your hands calloused, eyes strained in dim light. The master takes the coin, leaving you with blisters and a faint hope of peculum, savings for a freedom that feels like a myth. Or you're a porter, hauling baskets of fish through alleys, shoulders bruised, feet bloodied by cobblestones. The market's stench, fish, spices, sweat, clings to you. A second skin, perhaps you serve in a tavern, pouring sour wine for drunken patrons, their hands grabbing, their laughter drowning your silence. Or you're a litter-bearer, carrying a wealthy Roman, your muscles screaming under the sedan's weight, the sun baking your skin. The city never rests, and neither do you, dodging carts and curses. You sleep in a shop corner or an alley, the city's hum your restless lullaby. The free speak of Rome's glory, but to you, it's just another day of survival. Could you keep moving, knowing each step belongs to another? Some slaves belong to the state, public slaves, tasked with Rome's bones. You might tend an aqueduct, scraping algae from stone, the water's roar deafening, its chill numbing your hands. Or you pave roads, knees bruised, hands cracked from lifting slabs. Perhaps you clean temples, polishing marble altars, incense clinging to your tunic, the gods' stone eyes unyielding. Conditions are better, no private master's whims, but freedom is a distant star. You're housed in barracks, fed just enough, watched by overseers who count your work, not your worth. The city's aqueducts, roads, temples bear your sweat, yet you're a ghost in their story. Could you find pride in this, knowing your hands shape Rome, even as it forgets you? Each role, servant, laborer, artisan, builder, carries its scars. The Domos offers shelter, but no peace. The latifundia break your body. The city demands endless motion. The state claims your strength. Your origins, war, piracy, birth, debt, fade into the whip, the work, the endless days. Rome's villas gleam, its fields bloom, its streets bustle, its aqueducts flow, all because of you. Yet you're a shadow, a tool, a name not your own. The empire thrives, but what of you? Your dreams are buried beneath its stones. Could you hold on to a spark of hope, a memory of who you were, in a world that sees you as nothing? In the domus, you light lamps, their flicker casting your shadow on frescoed walls. You serve wine to guests who don't see you, their laughter a blade. The mistress might praise you, then slap you for a spilled drop. You move silently, hiding anger, dreaming of peculium coins that might never come. The other slaves, cooks, maids, are your family, their tired eyes your mirror. You share whispers in the dark, voices low to avoid the overseer. Could you find solace in these stolen moments? In the latifundia, the sun is your master, crueler than any Roman. The Ogastulum is a damp hole, its air heavy with despair. You work until your hands bleed. The overseers whip your rhythm. The fields mock your pain, and crosses haunt your dreams. You share bread with others, their silence, your bond. Could you keep going when hope feels like a jest? The city's streets are a river of chaos. As an artisan, you craft goods you'll never own, your hands steady despite the ache. As a porter, you carry loads that bend your spine, dodging crowds that curse you. The tavern's noise drowns your thoughts. The litter's weight breaks your shoulders. You sleep where you fall. The cities hum your lullaby. Could you find strength in this endless motion? Public slaves build Rome's glory, aqueducts, roads, temples. You scrub stone, pave paths, polish altars, your hands shaping an empire that doesn't see you. The barracks are cold, but the work carries a strange pride. Could you hold on to that, knowing your labor outlives you? All slaves share one truth: your life is not yours. Rome's grandeur rests on your back, yet you're forgotten. In the quiet, you find fragments, a memory, a shared laugh, a spark of defiance. Could you carry those through another Roman dawn? The air is thick with the scent of ash and sweat, the faint glow of an oil lamp flickering in the corner of the room. You shift on your straw mat, its damp fibers scratching your skin, the cold stone beneath seeping into your bones. Outside, Rome hums, cartwheels clatter, a dog barks, the Tiber's muddy breath drifts through the air. You're a slave, one of countless shadows fueling this empire. Your name, a whisper even you barely recall. The day looms, heavy with tasks, but heavier still is the weight of your place here. A life owned, shaped by the whims of others. How does Rome treat you, a soul bound to its will? What is it to live under the lash, the gaze, the unspoken rules that bind your every breath? Let's walk through the hours of your day, the cruelties that mark your skin and spirit, and the rare, fleeting moments when kindness feels like a dream you dare not trust. Could you endure this, knowing each dawn brings the same relentless truth? Your day begins before the sun, roused by the overseer's sharp voice or the clank of a bell. You're in a domus, perhaps, or a grim ergastulum on a rural estate. Your sleeping quarters, a cramped cell, or a corner of a kitchen. The mat beneath you is thin, infested with lice that bite as you stir, the air heavy with mildew and the sour temps of unwashed bodies. If you're in the city, you might share a room with other slaves. Their snores and muttered dreams are fragile. Companionship. In the countryside, the ergastulum is worse, a half-buried cage of stone and iron. Its walls slick with damp, its bars cold against your cheek. You rise, your body aching from yesterday's labor, your tunic threadbare, offering little against the morning's chill. Breakfast is a crust of stale bread, maybe a sip of sour wine or watery pulse, barely enough to quiet the gnawing in your stomach. You eat quickly, silently, knowing delay could bring a curse or worse. The work begins, and with it, the constant shadow of punishment. You're a tool, Rome tells you, and tools must function perfectly or be discarded. If you're in a domus, you scrub floors, carry water, or tend fires. Your every move watched by the mistress or an overseer. A spilled jug, a smudged mosaic, a moment's pause too long. These invite the flagellum, a whip of leather and bone that bites your skin like fire. The pain is sharp, lingering, each lash leaving a scar that marks you as property. In the fields, the whip is crueler, wielded by overseers who care only for quotas. You plant or harvest under a blazing sun, your hands bleeding, your back bent. The whips crack a constant rhythm. Some masters use branding, hot iron seared into your flesh, or worse, crucifixion for grave offenses, its threat looming like a storm. You've seen the crosses along the Appian Way, their grim cargo, a warning etched into your mind. Punishment isn't just physical, it's a weight on your soul. You're called instrumentum vocale, a speaking tool, your humanity stripped with every order. The master's voice is cold, his eyes passing over you as if you're no more than a chair or a pot. You learn to move silently, to anticipate needs before they're spoken, to bury your anger deep. A wrong word, a glance too bold, could mean a beating or a night locked in a cell without food. The worst punishment is separation, your child. Your partner, sold to another master, their faces fading into memory. You've heard the cries of others torn from their families, their wails echoing in the domus or the ergastulum, a sound that haunts your dreams. You cling to the few you call kin, other slaves whose tired eyes mirror yours, but even they can be taken. Could you hold on to hope, knowing love itself is a risk? Living conditions grind you down as surely as the whip. In the domus, you sleep. In a cellar or a corner of the kitchen, the stone floor, your bed, the air thick with smoke and damp. Your mat is a scrap, often shared, its straw crawling with vermin. In the latifundia, the ergastulum is a prison, its walls closing in, its air stale with despair. You're chained at night, your ankles raw, the clank of iron a lullaby you dread. Food is meager, bread gone hard, pulse gritty with dirt. Occasionally a scrap of vegetable or fishy garum, its stench lingering on your tongue. Water is scarce, often cloudy, drawn from a shared bucket. Cleanliness is a luxury. You wash when you can, with no soap, your skin caked with grime. Illness festers, cuts turn septic, coughs linger, but a doctor is for the free, not you. You work through fever, through pain, because stopping means punishment. Psychological control is Rome's sharpest chain. You're watched, always, by overseers, masters, even other slaves hoping to curry favor. Your thoughts are not your own. A moment's defiance, a whispered complaint, could reach the master's ear. You're taught to see yourself as less than the free, less than human. The master might name you, stripping your true name, replacing it with Felix or Chloe, a Roman whim. Your property, bought and sold like cattle, your value measured in coins, not dreams. The threat of sale hangs over you, sold to a harsher master, a distant estate, a mine where life is measured in months. You learn to hide your heart, too. Smile when you want to scream, to bow when you want to run. The other slaves are your only refuge, their quiet nods, a language of survival. Could you keep your spirit alive, buried beneath this weight? Some masters offer reprieve, though it's never truly kind. A gentle master might give you a better tunic, a day without the whip, or a rare piece of fruit from the market. In the domus, you might eat the family's leftovers, bread softened with oil, a sliver of cheese, your stomach briefly content. A rural master might let you rest on a festival day, the sun warm on your face as you sit, unchained, for a fleeting hour. But these moments are calculated, a reward for loyalty, a leash to keep you docile. The kind master is still your owner, his mercy a strategy, not compassion. You hear stories of slaves who pleased their masters, carrying messages, saving a child from a fall, and were given small freedoms, a peculium to save coins, or a night without chains. Yet even these feel like traps, a reminder that freedom is a distant star, not yours to reach. The law offers no shield. You have no rights, no voice in Rome's courts. A master can beat you, sell you, kill you, and the empire shrugs. If you're accused of theft or rebellion, punishment is swift, flogging, branding, or the arena, where you're fodder for beasts. The law sees you as property, your life worth less than a stolen loaf. You've heard of slaves testifying in court, their words twisted under torture, their truth irrelevant. The vigils, Rome's night watch, might drag you from the streets for no reason. Their clubs heavy, their bribes heavier. You learn to avoid their gaze, to move through the city like a shadow. The law is a wall, and you're on the wrong side. Your existence a footnote in Rome's endless scroll, yet cruelty varies, shaped by the master's mood or means. In a wealthy domus, you might have a straw mat, a scrap of blanket, a moment to breathe between tasks. The mistress might overlook a mistake, her mind on her jewels, not your trembling hands. In smaller households, where coin is tight, you're worked harder, fed less, your body a tool stretched to breaking. Rural slaves face the worst, chained, starved, beaten until they collapse. Their lives cheap in the latifondia's vast fields. Urban slaves dodge drunken patrons or cruel overseers, their bodies bruised by loads, their spirits by scorn. Public slaves, owned by the state, might fare slightly better, no private master's whims, but the lash is never far. Every slave knows pain, but its flavor depends on where you stand in Rome's hierarchy. The other slaves are your anchor, their presence a quiet defiance. In the domus, you share a glance with the cook as you pass, her nod a silent vow to endure. In the erga, you whisper stories of lost homes, your voices low to avoid the overseer's ear. In the city, you trade a crust of bread with a porter, his calloused hand brushing yours, a fleeting warmth. These bonds are fragile, easily broken by sale or death, but they're all you have. You learn their names, not the ones the master gave, but their true names, spoken in the dark. You hold their stories, their pain, as they hold yours. Could you find strength in these moments, these slivers of humanity Rome can't steal? The day drags on, each hour a weight. In the domus, you light another lamp, its flame flickering like your own fading hope. In the fields you swing a hoe, the earth unyielding, the whip's shadow near. In the city, you haul another load, the crowd's noise drowning your thoughts. You're a slave, and Rome's hunger knows no end. Yet in the quiet, between the lash and the labor, you find a spark, a memory of a mother's song, a dream of a life beyond chains. It's faint, fragile, but it's yours. The empire builds its glory on your pain, but it can't take everything. Could you carry that spark, hidden in your heart, through another day of Rome's relentless grind? The treatment of slaves is a story of endurance, of surviving a world that sees you as less. The whip scars your skin, the ergosilum traps your body, the master's voice binds your spirit. Yet you persist, day after day, finding solace in the other shadows who share your fate. Rome's grandeur, its villas, fields, streets, rests on your shoulders, yet you're invisible, your pain a whisper in its roar. Could you hold on to yourself? Your dreams, your defiance, in a world that demands everything and gives nothing back. As the lamp dims, as the city's hum fades, you close your eyes, and for a moment you're more than a slave, you're a soul, still burning, still alive. The air is heavy with the scent of sweat and iron, the faint clank of chains echoing in the dimness. You stir on a hard pallet, its straw thin and damp, the stone floor beneath radiating a chill that seeps into your bones. Outside, Rome's pulse hums cartwheels on cobblestone, a vendor's distant cry, the low roar of a crowd hungry for blood. You're a slave, but not just any slave. You're a gladiator, marked for the arena, your life a spectacle for the empire's pleasure. The ludus, the gladiator school, is your world now, its walls high, its gates locked. What is it to live with a sword in your hand, knowing each day could be your last? Let's walk through the ludus's dust, the arena's sand, the fleeting moments of glory and dread that define your existence. Could you face the crowd's roar, the beast's snarl, and still hold on to a flicker of hope? You didn't choose this life, few do. You might be a prisoner of war, a Gaul or Thracian captured in a distant battle, your spear traded for chains when Rome's legions crushed your people. Perhaps you're a criminal, condemned for theft or rebellion, your sentence not death, but the arena's cruel stage. Or maybe you were sold into the ludus by a master who saw profit in your strength, your defiance turned to coin. The lanista, the trainer who owns you, cares only for your skill, not your story. You're led to the ludus, a fortress of stone and iron on Rome's edge. Its courtyard thick with dust, its air sharp with the Thames of blood and oil. Here, you're no longer a man, but a Ricciarius with net and trident, a Murmelo with shield and sword, or a Secutor built to chase. Your name is gone, replaced by a title, Spartacus, Flamar, chosen to thrill the crowd. The ludus is your prison and your school, a place of sweat and survival. You wake at dawn, roused by the lanista bark or the clang of a bell. Your pallet is a scrap in a cramped cell, shared with others whose eyes carry the same mix of fear and resolve. Breakfast is barley porridge, thick and tasteless, mixed with beans to build your strength, washed down with water that tastes of earth. You eat quickly, knowing the day's training waits. The courtyard is your world now, its sand hot under your feet, the air alive with the clash of wooden swords and the grunts of men pushed to their limits. You train with a rudies, a wooden blade heavy in your hands, mimicking the real sword you'll wield. The Lannister watches, his voice sharp, correcting your stance, your strike, his whip ready for those who falter. Training is brutal, a rhythm of pain and precision. You spar with others, your muscles screaming as you block and thrust, sweat stinging. Your eyes. The Lannister drills you in tactics, how to dodge a Viserys's net, how to counter a Murmillo's charge. You learn to move fast, to think faster, your body a weapon honed by necessity. Some days, you train against straw dummies, their burlap faces mocking your exhaustion. Others, you face live opponents, their eyes as desperate as yours, knowing a mistake could mean death in the arena. The Ludus's doctor binds your cuts, his hands rough, his salves bitter with herbs, but injury is no excuse to stop. You're fed well compared to other slaves, barley, beans, occasional meat to keep you strong, but it's fuel, not comfort. Could you endure this grind, knowing each swing of your sword prepares you for a fight you might not survive? The Lat is a world apart, its walls shielding you from Rome's chaos, but trapping you in its own. You sleep in a cell, its iron bars cold, the snores of other gladiators your only company. You hear their stories in the dark, tales of lost homes, of battles fought before the arena, of dreams of freedom. Some boast of victories, their voices loud to hide their fear. Others are silent, their eyes fixed on a future they can't see. The Lannister is your master, his word law, his whip a reminder of your place. Yet there's a strange bond here, forged in sweat and shared dread. You share water with a Viserys, whose net you dodge today, his grin fleeting but real. You help, bind a Secutor's wound, his thanks a nod that speaks louder than words. These men are your brothers, your rivals, your mirror. Could you find strength in their presence, knowing tomorrow you might face them in the sand? The arena calls, its shadow looming over every moment. You're marched to the Colosseum or a smaller amphitheater, the city's noise swelling, crowds shouting, vendors hawking wine, the air thick with dust and anticipation. The Ludus's gates open, and you're led through Rome's streets. Your wrists bound, the crowd's eyes curious or cruel. The arena is a cauldron of sound, its stone walls soaring, its sand stained with yesterday's blood. You're dressed for the role, Viserys with net and trident, light and agile. Murmillo with heavy shield and Gladius, a walking fortress. Or another type, each a piece in Rome's brutal theatre. Your helmet is heavy, its metal warm against your face, its slits narrowing the world to sand and steel. The crowd's roar hits you like a wave, their cheers a mix of awe and hunger. Their faces a blur of togas and expectation. You step onto the sand, the heat rising through your sandals, the air sharp with the smell of blood and sweat. Your opponent appears, a gladiator like you, or perhaps a beast, a lion's growl rumbling through the arena. The fight begins, and time slows. Your heart pounds, your breath loud in your helmet, as you dodge a blade or a claw. The crowd's roar fades, replaced by the clash of iron, the crunch of sand, the burn in your muscles. You strike, block, move, every motion a dance of survival. If you're a Viserys, you cast your net, hoping to entangle. If a Murmillo, you charge, shield high. A cut opens on your arm, the pain sharp but distant, adrenaline your shield. The crowd cheers for blood, yours or your opponent's, they don't care. Victory brings a fleeting thrill, the crowd's applause a drug, but defeat means death. Or worse, the polis verso, the crowd's thumb deciding your fate. Survival is a gamble, the odds cruel. Most gladiators die young, their lives measured in fights, not years. A lion's claw, a cicuda's blade, or a wound gone septic can end you. Yet skill can tip the scales. If you're good, fast, clever, ruthless, you might win often, your name whispered in the stands. Your Lannister's purse heavy with coin. Victories bring better food, a softer palate. Perhaps a woman sent to your cell as a reward, her presence a brief escape from dread. The crowd might love you, chanting your name, tossing flowers, but their love is fickle, their cheers turning to gears if you falter. Rare gladiators, the best, earn the rudies, a wooden sword symbolizing freedom, but it's a distant dream, granted. Too few, most end in the sand, their blood soaking the earth, their names forgotten by the next fight. Could you face that truth, knowing each victory buys only another day? The arena isn't just gladiators. Some days you face beasts, lions, bears, leopards, brought from the empire's edges, their roars shaking your bones. You're armed with a spear, maybe a shield, but their claws are faster, their hunger wilder. The crowd loves these fights. Their cheers are thunder as you dodge or strike. Other days, you're part of a nomachia, a staged naval battle in a flooded arena. Rowing a creaking boat, your sword wet with water and blood. Or you're a damnatus ad bestias, a condemned slave, thrown to beasts with no training, no chance, your death a warm-up for the main show. The sand is your stage, but it's also your grave. Each fight a roll of dice you can't control. Between fights, the ludus is your world. Its routine a strange comfort. You train, eat, sleep, repeat, the rhythm numbing the fear. You learn to read the Lannister's moods, to dodge his whip, to please him with your skill. You share wine with a Mamillo who spared you in sparring, his laugh rough but warm. You carve a tally on your cell's wall, each mark a fight survived, a fragile claim to existence. The Ludus's doctor stitches your wounds, his hands steady, his words few. You hear rumors of rebellion, Spartacus's name whispered like a prayer. But the Ludus's walls are thick, its guards alert. Escape is a dream that ends in crosses, yet you dream it anyway. The thought of freedom a spark in the dark. The crowd's roar lingers in your ears, even in sleep. You dream of the arena, of faces screaming for blood, of a lion's yellow eyes. But you also dream of before, of a village, a family, a life where your hands held tools, not swords. The other gladiators are your kin now, their scars mapping. The same story as yours. You share their silence, their fear, their fleeting laughs. A Retiarius teaches you to knot a net tighter. A Cicuta shares a sip of wine. These moments are small, but they're yours, stolen from Rome's grasp. Could you hold on to them, knowing the arena waits? The gladiator's life is a paradox, glory wrapped in chains. You're a hero to the crowd, your victories carved in there. Cheers, yet you're a slave, your life owned by the Lannister's whim. The arena makes you larger than life, your name a chant, but it shrinks you to nothing. Your blood a stain they'll sweep away. You fight for survival, for a chance at freedom, but each fight risks everything. The Rudies is a whisper, a hope that drives you to swing harder, move faster. Yet most gladiators fall. their bodies carried from the sand, their names fading with the crowd's applause. You wonder if you'll be one of them, or if you'll stand long enough to see the rudies in your hand. As the day ends, you lie on your pallet. The lud is quiet but for the creak of gates and the distant howl of a beast. The air is heavy, the lamps flicker, casting shadows that dance like your fears. You're a gladiator, Rome's spectacle, its sacrifice. The arena waits, its sand thirsty, its crowd insatiable. Yet in this moment, you're more than a fighter. You're a man, a soul, carrying memories Rome can't take her. Mother's voice, a brother's laugh, a spark of defiance. Could you carry that spark into the arena, through the roar, the blood, the endless fight, and still believe it's enough to keep you alive? The night is still, the air heavy with the scent of smoke and damp stone. You lie on your straw mat, its fibers worn thin, the cold of the floor seeping into your aching bones. Rome hums faintly beyond the walls, a cart's rumble, a drunkard's song, the distant lap of the Tiber against its banks. You're a slave, your days shaped by labor, your nights by the weight of chains, real or unseen. But in this quiet moment, as the lamp's flicker casts shadows across the room, a thought stirs, fragile as a whisper. Freedom, could it be more than a dream? What would it take to slip the yoke of Rome, to walk as your own? The path to freedom is narrow, steep, and rarely trod, but it exists, a faint star in the empire's dark sky. Let's trace the steps you might take, the fleeting hope you might cling to, and the half-life of a freedman, still tethered to Rome's will. Could you hold that hope, knowing how easily it could shatter? Freedom is a word you barely dare speak, yet it lingers in your heart like a song half remembered. In Rome, manumission is the key, the act of a master setting you free, but it's a gift rarely given, a door rarely opened. You might earn it through years of loyal service, your hands calloused from tasks done without complaint, your eyes lowered to hide your longing. Perhaps you're a cook in a domus, stirring pulse over a smoky fire, your master noticing your care, your silence, your knack for pleasing his guests. Or you're a tutor teaching his son poetry, your own learning a relic of a life before chains, your voice steady despite the ache within. Exceptional service saving a master's child from a fall, carrying a vital message through a storm might tip the scales, his gratitude softening his heart just enough to consider your release. Another path is the peculium, the small savings. You're allowed to keep a handful of coins earned through extra work or tips from a master's guests. You might mend tunics late into the night, your fingers pricked by coarse thread, each stitch a step toward freedom. In the city, you could sell a crafted pot or a basket of figs on the side, hiding the coins in a clay jar beneath your mat. The peculium is yours, but only by the master's grace, and he can take it as easily as he allows it. To buy your freedom, you need enough hundreds, perhaps thousands of sesterces, a sum that feels like a mountain. You count each coin in the dark, the metallic clink, a fragile promise, your heart racing at the thought of losing them to a master's whim or a thief's hand. Could you save enough, year after year, knowing one misstep could steal it all? The process of manumission is a ritual, heavy with Rome's love for ceremony. If your master agrees, you might stand before a magistrate in the forum, the air thick with dust and the chatter of merchants. The vindicta is the simplest partha, symbolic act where the master touches you with a rod, declaring you free before witnesses. The moment is brief, the rods tap light, but its weight is immense. You're given a pileus, a felt cap of liberty, its fabric soft against your scalp, a sign to all that you're no longer property. Or freedom might come through a master's will, read after his death, his voice from beyond granting what he withheld in life. Perhaps you're called to his bedside, his breath weak, his words naming you Libertus, a freedman, as a final act of largesse. But such moments are rare, and you know too many who served faithfully, only to die in chains. If you're freed, the world shifts, but not as much as you dreamed. You're a Libertus now, no longer a slave, but Rome's shadow still clings. You stand in the forum, the pileus on your head, the air sharp with the scent of incense from a nearby temple. The crowd moves around you, their togas bright, their eyes passing over you as if you're still invisible. Freedom comes with a price. You're bound to your former master, now your patronus, as a client. You owe him loyalty, service, perhaps a share of your earnings. You attend his morning salutatio, standing in his atrium, your new tunic stiff, your voice low as you thank him for favors you didn't ask for. He might demand your labor, your vote, your presence at his side, and you comply, knowing refusal could mean ruin. Your life as a freedman is precarious, a half-freedom at best. You might open a small shop, selling bread or sandals, your hands still calloused from years of servitude. The market is loud, the air thick with fish and spices, but each coin you earn feels like a victory. Or you work as an artisan, crafting pots or weaving cloth, your skills honed in slavery, now your own. But Rome's hierarchy is unforgiving. Freeborn citizens scorn you, their whispers sharply Bertus, a word that carries the stain of your past. You're barred from high offices, from the Senate's marble halls, your status a wall you can't climb. Your children, born free, might rise higher, but you're forever marked. Your freedom, a gift you must repay daily. The peculium that bought your freedom is gone, spent on the master's price, and you start anew, your savings as fragile as before. You live in a cramped insula, its walls thin, the shouts of neighbors echoing through the night. Your bed is better than the slave's matter wooden frame. A thin mattress, but the city's damp clings to it, the air heavy with smoke and mildew. You eat better, perhaps bread with oil, a bit of cheese, but hunger is still a shadow. Your coins stretched thin by rent and debts to your patronus. You work long hours, your body tired but your own, a small pride in that. Yet the fear lingers. A bad season, a cheated deal, and you could fall back into debt, your freedom slipping like sand. Some freedmen rise, their stories rare but shining. You hear of a Libertus who became a merchant, his ships sailing to Egypt, his wealth rivaling the freeborn, or a scribe who served an emperor, his words shaping laws, his name whispered in palaces. But these are exceptions, stars too distant to guide you. Most freedmen scrape by, their lives a struggle to hold what they've gained. You might marry your partner, a Liberta, or a free-born woman, her eyes kind but wary, knowing your past. Your children laugh in the insula's courtyard, their freedom a gift you fought for. But you worry, will Rome let them rise, or will your shadow cling to them too? Could you build a life on this fragile ground, knowing it could crumble beneath you? The barriers to freedom are many, each a chain of its own. The peculium is a dream for most, its coins to few, the master's price too high. A cruel master might dangle freedom, only to snatch it back, his laughter colder than iron. A kind one might free you, but only in death. His will read, too late to change your life. The law complicates things. Manumission requires a magistrate, witnesses, a master's consent, and you have no voice to demand it. If you're young, under 30, the process is harder. Rome's rules guarding its supply of slaves. Women face steeper paths, their labor less valued, their peculium harder to earn. And even if you succeed, society's scorn waits, a weight as heavy as any chain. You've seen freedmen mocked, their shops shunned, their dreams curbed by Rome's rigid order. Yet hope persists, a spark in the dark. You carry it in the domus as you pour wine for guests, their laughter distant, your hands steady as you dream of coins. In the latifundia, you hide a cestus in your sandal, its weight a secret against the overseer's whip. In the city, you trade a crafted lamp for a coin, your heart racing as you bury it beneath your mat. The other slaves see it too there. Eyes flicker with the same dream, their whispers of freedom a shared prayer. You tell stories in the ergastulum's dark, of a Libertus who bought a shop, of a woman who walked free with her child. These tales are rare, but they're enough to keep you going, to make you believe the Pileus could rest on your head. The process, when it comes, is a moment of quiet power. You stand in the forum, the magistrate's voice steady, the tap a heartbeat against your skin. The Pileus is soft, its weight strange, a symbol you've dreamed of for years. You breathe, the air sharp with dust and incense, the crowd's noise fading as you realize you're free. But the moment passes, and Rome's reality creeps in. You're a Libertus, but still a client, still watched, still less. You walk to your insula, the city's hum unchanged, your steps lighter but cautious. Freedom is yours, but it's fragile, a flame that needs guarding. You work, you save, you build, knowing Rome could take it all back with a single stroke of fate. As night falls, you lie in your insula, the Pileus folded beside you. Its fabric, a reminder of what you've won. The city's noise softens, the lamps glow, casting shadows that dance like your thoughts. You're no longer a slave, but freedom's weight is its own burden. You owe your Patronus, you dodge scorn, you fight for every coin. Yet there's a pride in this, a quiet defiance. You've walked a path few survive, your hands your own, your dreams no longer buried. Could you carry this half-freedom, this fragile spark, through Rome's unforgiving streets, and still call it enough? The night wraps around you, heavy with the scent of damp straw and the faint clink of chains in the dark. You lie on a thin mat in the ergastulum, its stone walls slick with cold, the air thick with the breath of other slaves. Rome's distant. Hum drifts through a card's creak, a tavern's laughter, the Tiber's restless murmur. You're a slave, your days carved by labor, your nights by the weight of servitude. But in this stillness, a spark flickers in your chest, a whisper of defiance that dares to dream of breaking free. What would it mean to rise against Rome, to cast off its chains? The empire's grip is iron, yet some have tried their rebellions. A cry in the dark, desperate and fleeting. Let's walk the path of those who dared, from whispered plans to Spartacus's fire, and feel the cost of their courage. Could you kindle that spark, knowing it might burn you away? Rebellion grows in the quiet, where the whip's sting lingers but its sound fades. You're in the latifundia, perhaps, toiling under a sun that blisters your skin. The overseer's curses as steady as your hoes swing. The fields stretch endless, their wheat feeding Rome, while your ration of stale bread barely quiets your hunger, or you're in a mine, the air choked with dust, your hands raw from hacking rock, the darkness heavier than any chain. The other slaves share your exhaustion, their eyes meeting yours in the Ogastulum's gloom. A silent question passing. How much more can you bear? The causes are many brutal beatings, starvation, the theft of hope, but the spark is unity. A moment when whispers become a vow. You've heard tales of uprisings, their names passed like secrets. Sicily, Spartacus, a flicker of freedom against Rome's might. The First and Second Servile Wars, a century before you, burned in Sicily's fields. An older slave, his voice low in the Agastulum, tells of Eunice, a Syrian who led thousands in 135 BCE, driven by hunger and the whip. They seized towns with stolen sickles, their shouts shaking the estates. Eunice crowned as a king of the desperate. In 104 BCE, Salvius rallied field hands, their rage a fire that briefly lit the island. You imagine yourself there, gripping a makeshift spear, the air thick with dust and defiance. But Rome's legions crushed them, their crosses lining Sicily's roads, a lesson in blood. The stories stir you, their courage a spark, but their endings weigh heavy. Could you have marched with them, knowing the empire's wrath waits? The Third Servile War, Spartacus's rebellion, burns brightest, its echo reaching you in 73 BCE. You're a gladiator, your body honed in the ludus, your heart heavy with the arena's shadow. Spartacus, a Thracian like you, perhaps, was a warrior. Before chains, his spirit unbroken by the Lanister's whip. You hear whispers of his escapes, 70 gladiators breaking free, splintering the Lodus's gates, stealing swords and a dream of liberty. You imagine that night, running with them through Campania's hills, the air sharp with pine and freedom, the stars your only guide. Your sandals slap the earth, your stolen gladius heavy, its weight a thrill against the clank of chains left. Behind, Spartacus's army grows, a tide of the desperate slaves from Latifundia. Miners, shepherds, their hands calloused, their eyes alight. You march with them, the dust of the Appian Way coating your skin. The camp a chaos of voices, Greek, Gaulish, Thracian united by hope. You wield a sword, taken from a fallen Roman, its edge gleaming in torchlight. Spartacus leads with fire, his voice steady, his tactics sharp raids, ambushes, battles in moonlit valleys. You fight at Vesuvius, your breath ragged, the clash of steel loud in your ears. Romans fall, their armor no match for your rage, and the slaves cheer, their voices drowning the overseer's wit for a fleeting moment. Could you hold that hope, knowing each victory defies Rome itself? The rebellion swells to tens of thousands, a shadow army shaking Rome's heart. You seize towns, free slaves, your camp a patchwork of tents and dreams. The air smells of smoke and sweat, the ground littered with broken chains. You share bread with a shepherd, his scars like yours, his laugh a rare warmth. A woman, once a domus maid, binds your wounds, her eyes fierce with the same dream. Spartacus speaks of the Alps, of lands beyond Rome's reach, and you believe him, your heart lifting at the thought of a home you barely recall. The camp is alive, its fires bright, but Rome's shadow looms. You feel it in the quiet, the fear that freedom is a flame too fragile to last. Could you march on, through dust and danger, for a dream so close yet so frail? Rome does not yield. The Senate sends legions, their sandals are thunder, their spears glinting. You fight in skirmishes, your sword heavy, your arms aching as you block a centurion's thrust, the battles of fierce Lucania's plains. Brutium's hills, the air thick with blood and dust, the ground slick with fallen comrades. You see friends die, their eyes wide, their dreams spilling into the earth. Spartacus wins victories, his tactics a dance of defiance, but Rome's resources are endless, its will iron. Crassus, a general with wealth and cruelty, takes command. His legions a tide you can't outrun. You feel the hope flicker, the spark dimming as the final battle nears in 71 BCE. You swing your sword, your breath a rasp, the enemy a wall of steel. Spartacus falls, his body lost, and with him your dream fades. The aftermath is a nightmare etched in Rome's stones. You're captured, one of the few not killed. The Appian Way becomes a gallery of horror. 6,000 crosses stretch from Capua to Rome, each bearing a slave, their bodies broken, their defiance silenced. You march past them, wrists bound, the legionaries' boots a grim drum. The air is heavy with the stench of death, crows circling, their cries a chorus to your despair. You're spared, perhaps, for the arena or a harsher master, but the crosses haunt you, their shadows long in your dreams. Rome's message is clear. Rebellion ends. In wood and nails. Could you have stood with Spartacus, knowing this was the cost? Smaller revolts flicker, their stories quieter but no less brave. In the latifundia, slaves steal scythes, set barns ablaze, their shouts a cry against the whip. In mines, workers turn picks on guards, their rage a spark in the dark. These uprisings fade quickly, their leaders crucified, their names lost. You hear of Dromachos, a slave from Chios, who carved a haven in the hills, only to be hunted down. You whisper these tales in the ergastulum, your voice low to avoid the overseer. Each revolt is a spark, bright but brief, snuffed by Rome's might. Yet they fuel your heart, their courage a thread you cling to in the dark. The consequences are heavy, a chain tightened by rebellion's failure. After Spartacus, masters grow crueler, chains heavier, overseers sharper. In the latifundia, the whip falls faster, rations shrink. In the ludus, guards double, the lanister's eyes keen. The empire hardens its laws, its crosses a constant warning. Slaves who whisper of revolt are sold to mines, their hope buried in rock. Yet the spark lives, past in glances, in stories told at night. You share a crust with another slave, his hands trembling as he speaks of Spartacus, of a world where chains might break. These moments are small, a defiance Rome can't crush. Could you hold that defiance, knowing it invites the cross? Rebellion is a cry for dignity, not victory. You know this, lying in the ergastulum, the air thick with despair. You imagine yourself with Spartacus, your sword raised, the wind carrying dust and hope. You see the crosses, hear the screams, yet you dream anyway, the spark alive in your chest. The other slaves are your strength, their eyes mirroring your tired, defiant, human. You share a nod, a whispered tale, and in these you find a peace of freedom Rome can't steal. Could you carry that spark through the whip, the chains, the endless days, and still believe it's enough? The night deepens, the lamps glow fading, the ergastulum quiet but for a distant owl's call. You're a slave, but in this moment, you're more a soul who dreams of fighting, of being. Spartacus's name lingers, a prayer, a warning, a flame. Rome stands, its cross is a testament, but your heart beats, your spark burns. Could you hold it through the long night and face another dawn with defiance still alive?